the poet wants justice and the poet wants art.
Yep.
And then in poetry, you don't actually get one without the other. In the writing of history or in political essays, you might get one without the other. You might get, this is just, I'm just writing this to get social justice. And there's a certain sort of polemic in what I'm writing to get justice for the people that I believe were suffered. But in poetry, you don't get that.
No.
In poetry, you also get Jeremiah writing in a certain form, using the Hebrew alphabet, every letter of the Hebrew alphabet in a certain kind of way. That you don't have justice without art through poetry. That it is the nature of poetry that it has to be a dual commitment to both things. And that's what you're talking about. You're talking about the formal elements that operate, which is different than, say, journalism.
Oh, yeah, right. I mean, with poetry, this is not about, well, it is history. I'm going to talk about political poetry since you brought it up. But I think in America we're really terrified of the term political poetry. We think, oh, that means bad poetry. Political poetry has a purpose. And I say that if a poem is, the first thing a poem has to be is good. It's got to knock your socks off. It's got to, and I say art wins out every time, though justice is contained in art.
Yeah.
And so, you know, I don't think of it as a conflict. But a poem that is used, that can be used for political persuasion, if it's a good poem, it's going to stand up regardless. If it's just for political persuasion, it's not a poem. It's a piece that moves you, and it could be, if well orated, it could be a beautiful speech, or it could be a political diatribe, or it could be a piece of really well-written propaganda, which can also be an art form. But if it does not, at some level, really love every syllable and think of every syllable that it shapes, and that becomes part of its making, then it's not a poem. So.